Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So in the last video we saw how to run a demo app using an app emulator in Flutter. So that app was deployed and created by Flutter itself. When we ran the Flutter run command, then we chose the application option and it created the whole app by itself. Then we checked that app on app emulator whether it was working completely fine or not. Then we looked at some of the other things like file structure, folder structure, and like what are the best option in layout and by file structure and some other things. Okay. So today in this video, we'll firstly start with widgets, like what widgets are, because I've been discussing about widgets from the first video. What are its types, like stateful widgets, and stateless widgets, and then we'll definitely go for the code part. We'll try to implement this stateful widget, stateless widget, and we'll see how it goes. And then obviously we'll try it on an app emulator. Okay, yeah, so let's go. Okay, so I've created this new folder inside this Flutter directory, code learning, and in this video, all the code part we'll just put inside this folder. Yes. So let's open it on terminal and do code dot. This is the shortcut for opening VS Code. Okay, so everything is working fine. Close it down. So once again, we need to open command palette. Either you go view, command palette, or you just simply type Control Shift P. Okay, so we'll click on new project like we did in the last video and click on the application option and let's select this folder only. And let's type the name my app. Okay, good. Yeah. So it says that try to create template, so it will take some time to create the whole application. And you can see the application is here. So this is like the default main.dart file. We'll create our own dart file. Okay. We'll see how widget works. Even you can see these stuff like these stateless widgets, stateful widgets, all those things. So now the question comes, what actually is widget or what are widgets? So widgets are like the basic building blocks of the user interface. In short, we say it UI. So whether it is your UI button or text or images, your slider, padding, margin, center, rows, columns, all these things comes under the widgets. The Flutter widgets are built using a modern framework that takes inspiration from React. The central idea is that you build your UI out of widgets. Okay, so this Flutter is all about widgets. Widgets describe what their view should look like. So everything that you want in the output of UI of the app, everything is whether it's like text box, whether it is the images, padding, all those things, everything on your UI is a widget. Okay. Now, now when we talk about when the state changes, when a widget state changes, the widget look like given their current configuration and state. When a widget is like which the framework defines against the previous description and it determines the minimal changes needed in the underlying render tree. So whenever you uses widget, it always created a recursive tree. It creates the branches in which there is like a root widget, then there are like child widgets and all those things. Now it depends on which widget you are using. So talking about the types of widgets, there are like two types of widgets, that is stateless widgets and stateful widgets. Okay, So what are stateless widgets? Here you can see it is written stateless widgets, and it's saying a widget that does not require and all those things. It's giving a definition by its own, and even it's providing a YouTube video. So that's like cool, like really good stuff about VS Code. Going through the main documentation. I mean, I can also tell you about this. So overall, like stateless widget. So it is a widget that describes the part of the user interface which is immutable. Okay, since it is stateless, it is immutable, meaning once you set its properties, they cannot be changed. Okay, and whether it's like whenever you're using like different programming language, Python or C, C++, then we usually talk about what are immutable, what are mutable data types. So all those things are like pretty basic. Still, if someone is new and someone is like Dart is like the first programming language for him. So immutable is like once you set its properties, they cannot be changed. Okay. So stateless widgets is composed of children's, and that's why it has a build method. Okay, so since we are using this stateless widget, you can see we have this build method. This is only for the stateless widgets. Okay, and the reason is like stateless widget is composed of children's, and that is why it has the build method. So like talking about the characteristics. So once created, its properties cannot be changed. Every time you need to change the UI, you have to recreate the widget with new property. Okay, since we have already know that once the properties are set, it cannot be changed. So that's why if you want to change the UI once again, then you have to create the widget. You'll have to completely create the widget with new property. So now it's like ideal for parts of your app that remain relatively static and don't need to redraw under various conditions. Okay, so it's like good for that part. I mean, for example, you'll talk about icons, you'll talk about labels, buttons without interactions. So in those things, we don't really need to change the value. We provide a static value and we want it forever. Okay, we don't want to show some transitions and we don't require those things. Okay, if you want, I can once again tell you like how to do this. Let's remove this whole part. Okay, you can say like stateless. Okay, right. We need to import libraries. So we're using like extensions. So we can directly call the stateless widget like stateless. So okay, at the first option you can see stateless. So you can see how much easy it is to create a stateless widget. Okay, you don't need to type the whole things like class name, extend, stateless widget, or override. And this build is important because we have seen for stateless widgets, we need a build method since it has like children widgets also. This is like easy stuff with, while using the extension. Okay. And so like overall, we can say that what a stateless widget is a widget that describes part of the user interface by building a constellation of other widgets. Okay. That describe the user interface more concretely. Okay, the building process continues recursively until the description of user interface is fully complete. And stateless widget are useful when the part of the user interface you are describing does not depend on any other configuration information in the object itself and the build concept context in which the widget is iterated. And for compositions that can change dynamic. Example, did you having an internal clock driven state or depending on some systems? Yeah, I guess the concept of stateless widget is pretty clear. Now let's talk about stateful widget. Okay, so stateful widget is like like the completely opposite of the stateless widget. So in stateless widget, we saw that those are completely immutable. So in this stateful widget, It is a widget that can be mutable, like it can be redrawn on the screen multiple times with different properties. Okay, earlier in the stateless widget, we saw that if you want to provide a new feature, a new functionality, then you'll have to rewrite the whole widget. You'll have to create this status widget once again. But in this, it can be redrawn on screen multiple times with different properties. Okay, and its properties can change over time. Yes, that's what mutable means. And accompanied by a separate state object that holds the mutable information. And only the specific part of the UI that depend on the changing state will be redrawn, making it more efficient. Now, its use cases are something like this. It is ideal for the parts of your app that needs to be changed dynamically, like interactive elements, and you have forms or any other widgets that like changes over time. Okay, just like stateless widget, we can also create a stateful widget. Although I'm not creating all the things, not using all the all the necessary uh, code for this. I'll just tell you how to. Okay, so this is how you create a stateful widget using VS Code extensions. Now you can see the difference between. Okay, so in the first case, which we have created a stateless widget, there was this build function, and and in the other, I mean, this part is necessary in the stateless widget. Okay, and this is stateful widget and create state and extend all those things. Okay, and overall, if you talk about stateful, so overall we can say that like state is information that can be read synchronously when the widget is built and might change during the lifetime of widget. Okay, it is the responsibility of the widget uh, implementer to ensure that state is promptly notified whenever the such state changes. Okay, so it is the responsibility of this widget implementer. If anytime the state changes, then it will notify again and again so that the state has been changed, the state has been changed. A stateful widget is a widget that describes part of the user interface by building a constellation of other widgets that describe the user interface more conveniently. So the building process continues recursively until the descriptor of the user interface is fully complete. Stateful widgets are useful when the part of the user interface you are describing can change dynamically. Example, let's look at example due to having an internet clock driven state or depending on some system state or composition that depend only on the configuration information in the object itself. Okay, so this is like using the stateful widget. So like choosing between stateless widget and stateful widget depends on the specific needs of the widget you are building. If the widget's properties won't change over time, you use a stateless widget. If they will change and you want the UI to update in response to those changes, then you will use stateful widget. Okay, so why don't we first start with a minimal Flutter app, which is simply called a single widget using the run app function. Okay, so what we can do is let's create one more file here. I will say it hi dot dart. Okay, so here we can use a simple few lines of code. First of all, we'll do import, and in import we'll do package. We'll use Flutter and material dot. That's so this will include the libraries packages that we require for Flutter. Now everything in Flutter and Dart starts with like the main function. Okay, this is the void main function. Everything starts with this, and we will use this run function. Okay, run function will provide some what else? Provide some indentation just to show it more clearly. Center of we'll use child. We're creating a child, and we are using this this what do we call it? This widget, this text widget. Okay, we use this text widget, and here uh, we will say hello world. Hello world. This is Rahul. Okay, and then we'll do a comma, and we'll give it a text direction. Text direction will give it. Okay, that's it. I don't need to do any more things. Comma and just to comma, and this one is of this run app, so we'll use this. Okay, that's it. Center spelling is wrong. We need to change it. Center. Cool. Everything is working fine. Control S. Let's open the app emulator. Control Shift P, command palette. Select device. We'll use this Google Pixel. Okay. Let it open. It'll take like a few seconds. And now we can run this program. Okay, debug anyway, no problem. There will be some like test issue, but that's not the problem really. Because we're just checking whether the code is working, how to show, how to use the widgets. That's our main problem. And let's go for that. Okay, we'll wait for a few seconds until the Gradle is done building the program. Let's say it has been built. Let's wait. Ta-da! So it says, "Hello world, this is Raf." So like this is like the easiest demo of widget, how the widget works. You just use like center in text these widgets using the run app function. Okay. So in this case, we can say we are using two widgets, the center widget, and it has a child text widget. Okay, so this was at the top of the tree. This will be the like root, and this will be the child. Okay, so that's how we like starting how to use those things. Okay, cool. And start. Okay, so we've seen this, and there's some of the like the basic widgets. Basic widgets if we talk about in Flutter. I'll just tell the name to you. Basic widgets. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, so there are some basic widgets like images and text. Sorry, yeah, text image is also there. Text. So the text widgets lets you create, run or style text within your application, like this one. Okay, so this is like a text widget, and then there are more widgets like row, column. So these flex widgets let you create flexible layouts in both horizontal. Horizontal is for row, and vertical is for column directions. So the designs of these projects is based on the web flexbox. So if you have maybe if you have used CSS, then we use a concept of flexbox. So it's similar to this flexbox layout model. Then we have stack. So instead of being linearly oriented, either horizontally or vertically, stacked widgets lets you place widgets on top of each other in paint order. Okay, so you can then use the position widget on children of a stack to position them relative to the top, the right, bottom, left edge of the stack. So stacks are based on web's absolute positioning layout model. And we have like interesting container. So the container widget lets you create a rectangular visual element. This is like a container can be decorated with a box decorations such as background, a border, or a shadow. A container can also have margins, patterns, constraints applied to its size. In addition, a container can be transformed in three-dimensional space using a matrix. So I can also show you another piece of code and which will like combine several widgets. Okay, so when we combine like several widgets, we also called it composition. So I have another piece of code just to show you how you can use multiple widgets, how you can make the code more complex. Because in this demo, in this piece of code, we just use a single or two widgets. Now we want to do something interesting. Okay, so let's close this, and Android emulator can be working fine. And before this, and why don't we create one more directory here? We'll call it like complex widgets. Cool. Let's go inside this. Open terminal and write sorry or dot the shortcut for opening the VS Code, or you just directly go to VS Code and open the file, the folder that you want from here itself. Okay, so what you can do is once again Control Shift P, the project and application. Yes, my app, sorry, my app is already working. Complex visits and done. And my new app. How long that? Yeah, it will take a few seconds. Okay, so it says your Flutter project is ready. Press F5 to start run. So we want some complex codes this time. We want like use multiple widgets and how to do what things. So let's use the code snippet. We'll use it like this. Okay, so don't bother if you're not able to understand the code right now. Don't worry because in future videos we'll start with the basics. Like like writing code is easy part because we need to learn. We'll have to firstly learn what is the syntax for dot. Okay, so right now, if you face any problem in like understanding the piece of code, like if I use import, if I use package, if I use class, if I use constant, if you have and not I if you don't have much idea about this, then no worries because we'll start with the basics of Dart. We'll see like class, what are variables, because maybe some of the people enrolling in this course doesn't have much idea about programming language, then we so just to cover up that part, we'll just just start from the basics. That's it. No more hard stuff. Okay. So yeah, so I will import package. We is package, and package will use Flutter and material data. Okay. Then we'll use a class my So we will use a stateless widget like add bar. Bar. How about this? And we will use strings. This is syntax for stateless widget. Good. Curly brackets and constant we get my tab bar and inside this curly brackets we use required this title comma super dot key. Cool. And we have this comma. Okay. So that's it. And now we'll create a final widget type. Once again, if you are not able to understand the code part, don't worry. This is just the showcase of how complex widgets can be, how we can use multiple widgets within a same piece of code snippet. Okay, if you don't have much idea about the syntax, no worries, because in future videos, even from the next video, we'll start with the introduction of Dart. Okay, so no need to worry. After a few videos, you'll be able to write this code even with your single hand, even if your eyes are closed. That will be so easy, no worries. Fine with the title and this overwrite, and overwrite, sorry, widget, and it's build method, build context. Context, so it is given some of the code file by itself, written, and here we'll use content. Okay, content is also a widget and it creates a rectangular box as we have already talked about. And in this, we'll provide the height. Okay, rectangular box height we need to provide. Spelling is such height. Height will be something around 56. Okay, then we need to provide padding. Padding will be constant. H insert H exact, sorry. This is the option, and we'll say it horizontal. Okay, cool. And in horizontal of this, we need to provide the value that will be, it will be like about 7. Okay, and then after this, let's provide decorations. Decoration will provide a box decoration. And this will provide the colors, and colors blue, which provide the colors like blue. Colors blue, and value we need to provide it 500. Good. 500 is provided, and we'll create a child. Child will be a row. So all the things that you are using, seeing in this capital letters, row, container, all of these are widget. Okay, widgets are nothing special. These are all other things are the widgets. Okay, on the children, child row, I'll do one thing. Oh, I'll add something like this. Children, let's write it once. Okay, first icon button. Okay, and on pressed, I'll provide it null, whereas an icon, I'll provide it icon bracket icons don't you. Perfect. And one more thing, we'll provide the tool this project tooltip. We provide a tooltip. Why don't we use this? And okay, so menu items to menu is like this. We need to remove the comma from here and put it over here. Here tooltip. Tooltip will be navigation. Navigation menu. Put this comma and the things are done. Okay, so few more lines. I'll add the expanded part. Expanded and expanded. I'll give child as title. Good question mark. And there I'll give some of the things like constant icon button. Icon button on pressed. I'll provide it null. And icon. I'll provide icon bracket icons or search. Cool. Over here. And in the tooltip, I'll provide it search. Cool. Now we're done. Now we do it. And then finally, we'll provide some commas there. And this part will be done like this. Good. There are some of the warnings, but I will fix it. No big issue. Okay. And finally, we'll have to create the class as scaffold. Scaffold. It will extends. Once again, we are creating a stateless widget. Just like this, just like the above case. And in this, we'll do constant my scaffold. This time we're using my scaffold, not my app bar. And super dot key. Cool. And we have the semicolon. So override, and we have widget, build, and in this build context. Cool. Once again, we'll return material. And material will give it vertical and linear layout. Okay, so you know, let's child be a column this time. Cool. Column, and in column you can give like children. Children will be my bar this time. Okay, my bar title will be text, and in text you can give something like this. Title text sample here. Text. How does it sound? And a comma in it, and give the style as theme dot of context dot primary text theme, and similarly we'll title large title, comma, and we'll have to use comma, and put, and this is the material part. So we're just going to do this. And finally, the void main, because without that, the program won't be running because every program execute from the main part. Void main, this, run app, and app I'll use material, material, sorry. The run app, we need that, things like constant, material, app, title is my app, and we'll do home first to get area. Child is my scaffold. How does this sound? Scaffold with a slight comma, and we'll have a comma here also. We'll have a comma here also, and done. Okay, so we'll look at some of the errors and let's check. Okay, so I guess all the errors are gone now. There was some issue, there's some warnings. All of them are fixed. So this is how it looks. Let's control S, save the file, and try to run this file and see what's the output of it on the emulator. Do it like this. It's the app emulator, and just simply run this command. Okay, let's see if there is any errors or it's simply run perfectly. Just give me 2 minutes. That's it, I guess. Running Gradle task assembly debug. Parameter format not correct. What it be? And let's see. So it is saying built. Okay, it's opening. It's trying to open. Writing files. Ta-da! Yes, so you can see the different output this time, different UI, where we have used like this widget example title, we have search, navigation search, and these are all the options. So this is like how complex, how we can use more than one widget. We can use several widgets and create hello world. So the widgets are pretty easy stuff. I know some of you might not be able to run, I mean, understand the code part, but let it be because in the next video we'll go with the basics of Dart. Okay, simply from the basics like what are rows, what are variables, what are data type, and what values, how to assign values, how to because like the important thing about Dart is oriented programming. It follows OOPs. So we have classes. That's why we were using extends. We have child class. All the things are required, still required. And even using even trying to using a Flutter app, we definitely have an idea about Dart, but because behind the success of Flutter, Dart is. So you can see this new output, new UI, user interface. There's example writer, hello world, and I mean only few lines of code, like 80 lines, 79 lines of codes were required. Most of them are like bracket. So we can say overall 50 lines of codes. Yeah, maximum 50 lines of codes were required to create this. So you can see like how easy it is. We just used widget. We didn't use much of the complex things. We created stateless widget here. We created build. We provided we said that it should return a container. And we provided height, padding, decoration. We used box decorations. Then there was a child widget that was row, and we provided icon tooltip and on press null because null disables the button. I have also provided the comments right now. Child and this icon and I created one more class with my staples. Okay, it was a stateless widget once again for written material and child column example title. This title is here. This is showing that this one is for my scaffold. Okay, constant expanded child center, and this was the main thing like void main. Because without void main, the program will not. I mean, it will still not give any errors, but the output will be nothing because this is like a run app. It's saying run app. I have a material app, just run it. Okay, no matter how what the code is, just run it. And then it's go for my scaffold function. This function my scaffold, which is a stateless widget, and similarly go for my app bar. That's how basically widget works. Okay, that's pretty easy. And even if you try to Google it, you can see the whole hierarchy of how the trees are created, like uh, with widgets, wizards, and Flutter. Okay, so I'll show you the images like these. There's a root, then there's child, and all these things are widgets like welcome to login box to password box to this rectangular enter box. Everything is widget. Whatever you see in UI user interface, everything is widget. So why we talk about like widget? Why you always say Flutter is all about widgets? That is the reason. Somehow it's not completely true, but still this is how the case is. Okay. And even when you talk about Dart, okay. So when I was using app development, when I was trying to learn app development with this Java. Okay. So in that case, for like the UI part, I used to do changes in the XML file. Okay, extensible markup language, XML, yeah, extensible markup language. So that was basically for the UI part. And then app is not just about UI part because we have to configure the backend part also. And for the backend part, I had to like run some of the Java programs, Java codes to manage and my even own algorithms to run the like procedure and whatever my I want to use my own use cases for that. So I had to run some of the programs in Java. And similarly, when you use web development, because in the most cases for front end we use HTML, CSS, and then at the other hand, for back end we use like JavaScript, and the React, and other various frameworks are there. So like we are using two different things, but that's not the case with Flutter. That's not the case with Dart. Dart is the only program language. It will even create the user interface as well as the UX user experience, like your backend part also. Okay, so this dependency of different framework, different languages is completely removed with the help of Dart. Now Dart is only like only doing the user interface part as well as the backend, front end as well as the backend. So it is like the whole package, complete package of this Android deployment. And features are like out of this world, cross background, hot reload, and all those things. So in the next video, we'll start with introduction of Dart. We'll use the variables and conditional statements, how to create loop, how to print hi world, hello world, because everything starts with print hello world. So we'll also try to do that. So that was it. We'll just do a quick recap. Okay, so first of all, we talked about widgets, okay, and types of widgets. Okay, stateless, done, stateful, done. Then when I showed the code snippet of both the part, then we used a simple two widgets, dot program, you can run app, then you use sorry, widgets, dot program. So this is like the complete thing that was done. In next video, we'll start once again. I will tell you. We'll start with the introduction part. No worries if you face any problem in today's video. Basically, with the multiple widgets parts, no worries. Like I understand that issue also because we don't have much. Okay, you don't have much knowledge about that right now. But the next videos and next to next video, it will clear all of your doubts. So no worries. Okay, stay tuned and see you again in the next video.